who have we got this week? Obviously, people can see their names, but do please introduce our guests.
Okay, so today we've got Alastair Shanks, Suzanne Driver, and Micheal Stopford. So if you could all come in, please, and yeah, let's get chatting.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning. Lovely to see you all.
Good morning.
Fabulous. Thank you for joining us.
Good, and welcome to the Member Spotlight. So I think what we'll start with first is we'll just go around and just ask you to introduce yourself and the name of your business and what your business does. So we'll start with you, Micheal, if you could do that.
Yes, I'm Micheal, soon to be a new village resident.
Yeah.
So my business is business bookkeeping services, and we offer bookkeeping and payroll and accounts, so those kind of things to small local businesses.
Brilliant. Alastair, over to you.
Good morning, all. It's Alastair Shanks. I run Right at Home, and we support mostly elderly people to stay living independently in their own homes. So I have a team of caregivers. We have an office in Signal.
In the Signal Village, lovely. And Suzanne?
So I run 365 Training Consultants. So it's a training business around technology, and we sort of take off where the IT support people sort of leave it. We help you use your applications and develop them to help your business progress.
Brilliant. Well, thank you all for that. And to be honest, it's only just twigged that you're all in the Signal Village. You've all got office space at Signal. Literally, it's only just come to me that's amazing. And it's also great to see what a diverse, what businesses that we've got at Signal. So yeah, that's really brilliant. Good.
Absolutely. Excellent. So shall I kick off with the first question, Lou?
Yes, go on.
Okay, first question to Alastair. So can you just give us a little bit of background about you? Why did you choose the industry or sector or niche that your business operates in?
Yeah, certainly. So I really, I guess, fell into it in a way. I was looking at starting my own business and found out about franchising. So Right at Home is a franchise business, and was looking at a few different options. And I really wanted something that I guess I was going to feel proud about doing and feel good about doing. And at the same time as I was looking, my grandmother and grandfather were having challenges with care for my grandfather. So with all that in my mind, and I came across Right at Home as the franchise, and it really appealed to me. And the more I found out, the more I liked about it. So from, I guess, first coming across it in January of 2012, I then opened the office in June 2012, end of June. So that's how I ended up in the sector I'm in.
Oh, excellent! It certainly is a you get a lot back from it. It's
rewarding
a sector. Rewarding. Thank you, Lou. It's a rewarding business to be able to support people in their homes and that. Excellent. Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Alastair. Suzanne, why did you pick your industry niche or sector?
I was in HR years ago, and I got made redundant on my 30th birthday, which was, of course, about 3 years ago. And I was asked by the company that I just implemented a system to go and work for them. And they said they'd get me to all the trainer qualifications for training technology. So I worked for them for a short period of time and then moved into Microsoft training. So it was really a redundancy situation that spurred me into it.
Okay. Yeah. We talk about this in one of our webinars about positive and negative triggers as why people get into business. And sometimes a negative trigger can be just the shove in the back that you need. Yeah. So if you hadn't had that, you wouldn't be where you are today. So it all works out well.
Yes.
Fantastic. Micheal, what about yourself? How did you end up choosing accountancy, and where did you get the idea for your business?
So my interest started probably as a teenager. way back when I was looking at sixth form colleges. I was thinking about accountancy then, but I never went into it. I went into mathematics and then became a software engineer for Ferrantes and GEC. So I've worked on a few defence projects and that. It's only later in life, when I really wanted to be at home more with children and that, I wanted a career where I could be at home. So I thought, well, let's go back to where I was thinking before. Plus, my parents used to run a small shop, and just knowing about books and things from those days is sort of what brought me back into it again.
Excellent. Excellent. What sort of shop did your parents run?
Way back in the days of when we had corner shops, so small, so basically groceries and veg and all those kind of things.
And sweets.
Oh, absolutely, loads of sweets.
You must have been very happy.
Oh, it was hard work.
One of my uncle's parents used to run a small corner shop in North Camp. And I remember going in there as a kid and it being a real treat, because they would say I could pick from any of the sweet jars.
Oh,
literally, they would give me a quarter from any of the sweet jars before we used to go through to the back. I think it was the adults keeping me quiet whilst they had tea and cake.
My auntie ran an off license, but that's a completely different story.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for sharing. It's always interesting to hear the decisions that people make and the reasons they pick their industry. So thank you very much for sharing. Lou.
So I want to talk about skills now, and I'm going to ask you, what unique skill have you got that enables you to run your business? And also, have you identified, as you've been running your business, what additional skills you need to progress your business? So Suzanne, can I start with you?
Well, I think you obviously need to have a keen interest in, technology, and I need to be, not afraid to press any button and explore, which I do all the time. If I don't know something, I would just sit there until I understand it. I'm not particularly great on marketing. I know that. I'm not a great salesperson. I'm all right doing it in soft sales, but not a salesperson. I know that that's not my forte. But I love technology, and I really have a passion to try and share that love of technology with other people, and to show them that they can embrace it in their own business.
Yeah, I think also with you, Suzanne, I think you're doing yourself an injustice, because I think one of your unique skills is the ability to be able to deliver, and deliver in a way that is not intimidating. And to me, that is a very unique skill, because often we're very scared of technology, we're scared of all that. And when people come to a trade, you're very good at making people feel very comfortable. And I think for you, I know personally, because I've been on your training courses, that is a unique skill, because a lot of people aren't able to do that. And you can often go to a training course and you're completely intimidated because you're scared of the technology, but you really put people at ease. So I would definitely say, having worked with you, that is a definite unique skill, which can only lead to your success.
Nice of you to say, Louise. Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes when you're in a training session, you put your hand up and the trainer makes you feel stupid.
Exactly.
And it's like, well, I'm there to learn. Of course I don't know this.
But that goes back to, you're very open and honest when it comes to that. So you feel that you can put your hand up and ask any question. So you get so much out of your learnings because you can ask whatever question comes to mind. So I definitely think that is a unique skill.
I also like it when you ask a trainer a question and they stop and they think about it, because you feel like they're really considering what you're saying. And even to the point where I've been there, where you've been like, that's interesting, not quite sure, let me come back to you, let me have a think about that.
Yeah, but you always find me something, Stuart.
Well, it shows a real authenticity, and
it does.
a complicated product, a suite of products, and you've got to learn all of that. You can't possibly know every single piece of the DNA, otherwise you'd be a programmer at Microsoft working on those products, and even then you'd only be working on one of the products. So I'm just amazed that the suite of products and the width of your knowledge, that's always impressive.
And with regard to your skills that you say that you don't have, remember, we don't have to learn everything about our business. I talked about it in my talk a couple of weeks ago about outsourcing things. I mean, you might not be interested in marketing, so it might not float your boat. You might not think, well, it's not best use of my time. Get somebody else to do marketing, get somebody else to do my accounts, get somebody else to do that. And then you can really concentrate on what you're good at to develop your business. And I think as business owners, we always have to remember that. We feel that we have to learn and do everything when in fact we don't. So I think that's also, really focus on what you're good at and what you enjoy and develop those things rather than the other things.
We'll be looking in depth in the second session about developing good habits, and especially in and around what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. So that is a perfect example of it. Yeah.
Brilliant. Alastair, over to you. What unique skills do you have to run your business? And have you identified any additional skills that you need to progress?
Okay, well, I liked what you just said, Louise. I think so my business has grown from just me at the start to we've now got over 100 employees. And I think, I think sort of delegation and people management is probably one of the key things, and figuring out what I'm not good at and finding other people to do it or outsourcing it. So I think I mean there's other things I do get quite involved in the finance side of it, but I think that sort of leadership, people management is probably one of the key things, and things to develop, I guess, is more leadership skills. The business definitely changes in the way you need to communicate to people as there are more people, because you're not getting that one-to-one time with everyone in the business anymore.
Yeah, I think just going back to what you said is why you chose to get into the industry. I mean, I haven't worked with you, so I don't know you as well as I obviously know Suzanne, but you must have an element of empathy that
I think
brought you to that. And in your sector, I would imagine empathy is a skill that you use on a daily basis.
I think, I think you're right. I think it is. And I feel that our business is very values driven. It's certainly something I focus on a lot, and really try and, I guess, embed those values within the culture of the business. And I don't know if that's so much of a skill or it's just a kind of a value set and a way of being. But that certainly for, the people we look at to join our team, that's really important.
But it's also the ability to be able to impart your ethos that you have onto your team, so they deliver the same ethos, and that's always a very difficult thing, isn't it? I think especially in your sector, in that you want them to have that same ethos of caring and to be able to deliver that to your team, which you're obviously doing quite successfully to your 100 people. So that in itself, I think, is always a skill, to be able to to give that to your people.
Yeah. No, I think I agree.
Something
we try to do.
Well, these kind of questions, and I know they often, because you have to look at yourself, and questions about yourself are often very, very difficult, because we don't think about ourselves as business owners and business leaders, because we're just so busy doing the business. You don't step back. But I think it's really, that's why these questions, I think, are really important, that you really look at what you actually do and praise yourself and say, do you know what, I'm actually really good at that, and that's why my business is successful. So I don't think there's any shame in looking at that, but I know as humans we don't do this regularly enough. So it can feel a bit uncomfortable, and I appreciate that. But I think it's important. I think it's really important to explore it and work on it and say that's what I'm good at.
And one of the real difficult things to do is to be really honest with yourself. We all like to think we're perhaps better at certain things than we are. So, as Suzanne said, she's not particularly good at marketing, but that is a strength to know that, because if you know that area is something that is perhaps not your strong suit, that's where you can either focus for some training or getting some help in and around that. So it's not a weakness, it's very much a strength to know that's not where my skill set lies.
Yeah. Right, over to you, Micheal. What unique skills have you got to run your business?
So probably going back to my days in the software industry, is just really an eye for detail, because I used to work on safety critical systems, so I had to be precise and accurate in everything I did. And that's kind of how I look at bookkeeping as well, because without that, we can't take out the figures that we need, you know, to show to clients and say, well, this is, you know, these are the areas we want to work on. These are, you know, this is what's good, this is what's bad about the business, you know, those kind of things. I think marketing's the biggest issue. I need to try and learn a little bit, you know, being comfortable in front of the camera, for example.
That takes time, doesn't it? And that takes practice and time. But I would imagine you've got a very I call it FAD, but it's just it's called fine attention to detail. Yeah. I would imagine you're quite good at detail, Micheal. You would have to be. Yeah. Which again is a unique skill for your industry. I don't think you could work in your industry unless you have that skill for the detail.
That's right. Yeah.
Imagine
an accountant saying, "Well, those are broadly the figures."
Roughly.
Plus or minus 1,000.
Exactly. So yeah, exactly. So and you said marketing. Is there any other additional skills that you feel that you should be working on?
Well, I think it's going to come down to delegation, because as the business builds, I'm really going to have to let go of a few things. Telephone, for example, I'm going to need a PA in the next 2-3 months.
Well, we have VAs in our community, so talk to them and see how that works. You know, it's really important to do that.
Yeah, because going back to last week's work session, you know, all these disruptions. I mean, the telephone going off, answering calls to clients, potential clients. It'd be nice to have somebody there to look after that.
Yeah,
yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It is one of the most difficult things in business, isn't it? Letting go and saying somebody else can do that, because we initially, when you start off on your own, it's that I do everything, and then like parceling it off and letting it go. And one thing that I did hear quite recently actually is if you are on your own in your business, create an org chart and create all the different jobs and if you're on your own, you do everything. And then sort of just have a look at your organizational chart. You're the CEO, you're the marketer, you're the administrator, you're the finance person. Put them all in your organizational chart. Your name will be in all of them. And then just sort of work out which ones you think you could probably. And if you do something visually, it often really helps you differentiate as to the different tasks and what you can do and how you can either outsource it or how much time you're spending on it, etc. It's a really good way of deciding what needs to be sent to somebody else and what you really need to focus on.
Yeah.
So yeah, good.
I've just had a kind of a thought. I wonder if, from what we've heard, all of our guests are very modest and very downplaying how successful they have been to get to this point. I wonder if that's the reason why quite a lot of small business owners feel that they're not good at marketing, because they don't feel like they like to talk about themselves, very self-effacing. And marketing is basically going out and saying, look at me, I'm fantastic.
Yeah.
And that can be really awkward. That once you're having that conversation, it's just having a conversation. That doesn't feel like sales. But actually going out and saying, look at me, I can do this, might feel a little bit more like I'm bigging myself up, and that's not my kind of personality. Just a thought.
Yeah, you perhaps need to separate your business from you in a way then, and because I'm much more comfortable bigging up my business than I am bigging up myself.
Yeah, think of your business as like a really, really good employee that you like absolutely think walks on water. If you can talk about it in like a third person sense, like, oh, we can do this and we can do that. Yeah. I think, that might be the little kind of breakthrough that people need to be able to talk in glowing terms about what is essentially themselves. Because everybody feels a bit awkward when you go, we talk about wins and learnings.
Exactly.
And it always feels a bit like people go, I did something good.
I think a really good example of this is that when you have to write your own CV, for example, you've got to write your own, it's really difficult. But if your friend or partner or whatever says, oh, can you help me with my CV? It's so easy. You go like, yeah, great. You're really good at that. You're good at this. You're good at that. Because doing it objectively for somebody else is much easier than doing it for yourself. So you're right, Alastair. I think separating it out sometimes and looking at your business objectively to do your marketing is a really good sort of, you know, thought process to do it. It's very difficult bigging yourself up. We all struggle with that. It's a common thing. We all struggle with it. But sometimes, apart from Stu, sometimes you've just got to do it. So yeah, really interesting.
I can't help it if I was born awesome, and I've been that way ever since.
Oh my goodness. Can I just say, in the chat, there's quite a few things going on in the chat. Sarah, if you could put your chat to all panelists and attendees, then everybody can see what you're writing. That would be great.
Yeah, and we've had some good feedback. Sheila's been she said something which I think Alastair needs to hear. If you've got a team with your values, then you've nailed leadership. And I think that's right. You know, if you're standing at the front of the team and you're saying, here are the qualities, and they're exhibiting those qualities, that is in essence great leadership. So well done. And Sarah says, what stands out from all of these great business owners is their focus is to be of service to their customers and giving their best to their clients, and that's such a positive foundation. Great point, Sarah. Absolutely, yeah. Seeing your clients and your customers as the people that you are servicing and improving their lives, and we often forget that just in the day-to-day kind of push and rub of business, that actually the other side of the coin is the customer. You're relieving a pain in their life, so sometimes quite literally, but you're giving them the ability to do something. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I really get a kick out of working with small business owners, because you're affecting real people. You see it up close and personal, that what somebody has a breakthrough moment, or they gain a new customer because they've had an idea and you've helped them make it happen. So, you know, it's worth focusing on that if you're having a bad day, you know, all of those people that you really are helping.
Exactly. I like what you said, Suzanne. We should all keep our CV up to date, even if we're not applying for jobs. I think that's a really good idea, actually, because it just makes you realize what you're doing and your you know, what your skill set is. So I don't think there's any harm in that.
Terry reckons that everyone should have a little stew on their shoulder. But Terry, is that the devil or the angel?
Oof. I don't know whether I could cope with...
You need a stew and a loo.
I don't think I could cope with stew on my shoulder every day. To be exhausting.
Me waking up. Hello, it's me. I've been up for 3 hours. I've had way too much coffee.
Exactly. Right.
Okay. So we've looked a little bit about how you got into your business and the reasons for getting into your business, and we've looked a little bit what's going on in your business at the moment, your unique skills. So we want to look into the future. I mean, there's a lot going on at the moment. The world is a complex place. So we just want to kind of have a look into the future. And we don't care if it's blue sky thinking. The bluer the sky, I think at the moment, the better for everybody. So Micheal, give us an idea. What are some of your life goals, and what is the ultimate goal for your business?
The ultimate goal for my business is really just giving me the support for myself and my two girls. I'm not a business that's running around for several branches and those kind of things. I'm just really looking to earn enough to support my children and sort of live locally. But to do that, I still need to grow probably over the next 2-3 years and supporting. But in terms of developing the business, where I want to be in terms of servicing clients, it's more about getting into doing management reports and those kind of things, helping business understand what is happening inside their accounts.
Okay, yeah. So I know we've had a conversation previous to this where you're thinking of getting more into the management side of it and helping smaller businesses grow by having a de facto financial director who can maybe point out some pitfalls or some opportunities in their accounts. And again, that's like having that expert that you can just tap into, especially if you're a small business and that isn't your skill set.
That's right.
Talking to somebody who understands the numbers and can spot trends or possible pitfalls, I think that's going to be a really important thing going forward as business develops and we are all more disparate, working in different places. The ability to have somebody on tap that you can just have a session with, a Zoom session, and jump on and say, this is where my concerns are, and have that person come back with some definitives. You know, do this, don't do that. It certainly makes the future, the planning for the future, a lot easier when you've got somebody like that you can pick up the phone and speak to. Interesting times, definitely.
Because there's so much more you can do with your accounting software these days that you couldn't do before. I mean, one example might be, running that greengrocer's shop. You might want to know what lines are working, what lines are not working. There's so much more you can do with the accounts to bring that information out for businesses. There's no point flogging a dead horse. If there's a particular line or a department that doesn't work, you need to know when to cut it and concentrate on the profitable areas of the business.
Absolutely. You see it in the big supermarkets, they'll trial a new line and it'll be there for a few weeks and then it disappears. And you think to yourself, well, it must have been only me buying it then. Absolutely. Suzanne, for yourself, what are some of your life goals and what do you think your ultimate goal is for your business?
Well, my life goal, I've got retirement in about 10 years. It's not going to be an event. It's going to be over the next 10 years, just reducing the amount of days that I work so I can spend some time with friends and family. But because up till now, I've worked full time ever since leaving school and, done a lot of sort of UK traveling. I'm just sort of want to have a good business where I can go online and just get that better balance, really. And I'd like to do some more traveling, situation pending, obviously, and have a good retirement when I do get there.
The current situation is really playing into the remote training and learning. So there's lots of opportunities for you at the moment, I guess.
Yes.
Are you seeing that with businesses that are talking to you?
100%. I'm speaking to a customer at the moment and they said, we want to get you online because everyone can be at home when they're doing their learning. They don't have to be in the office. Even one of my customers who liked everyone in the office, and my customer that I've been with for years, they now let people sit at home and do online learning at home. I used to, for the same money, have to drive up to London because I had laptops to set up, so I couldn't go on the train, so I had 6 laptops with me. Drive up to London, set up 6 laptops, all be ready sort of early in the morning to miss the traffic, to do a session that I can now turn on my computer more or less just before 9 o'clock, start at 9:30, and I'm ready to go. So there have definitely been some wins for me like that, yes.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of people that are going, actually, this working from home malarkey, there are some challenges, but the ability to rock up to work at 5 to 9 and be there, and we've talked about this with networking as well. The explosion of online networking is incredible, but the ability to be able to turn up, do your networking thing, and then be at home directly afterwards, and there's not that half-hour journey backwards and forwards, I think is going to reap some real rewards, because the quality of life is going to come back for people, that I'm not spending an hour and a half on a train in the morning and an hour and a half on the train in the evening. I'm actually getting time to spend with my family. So
I do agree with all of that, but I do have to say is that what, you know, it works very well, and I think with the training, I think it works very well. But when you are in a meeting with somebody in person, there is a different sort of energy that you get. And I don't think we should forget that, which is why I think we're having quite a lot of inquiries about the meeting rooms at Signal and people wanting smaller offices at Signal. So there's still that opportunity for people to come and meet together face to face and have that sort of meeting. I mean, Stu and I met up, I think a couple of weeks ago. It's the first time we've met up for a meeting, and we were at Signal, you know, socially distanced, obviously, but in a meeting together. And the energy was amazing, and much more so than you get over a Zoom call. So I think we do have to be mindful that it's very different when you meet up in person. Yes, you can do the, you know, the meetings, etc., on a Zoom call, but you get a lot of energy when you're in a room with somebody. So I think we just have to be mindful of that as well, and not retract into the world of Zoom forever. So,
no, but it's interesting how it's evolving, because there were times when, and we were talking about this, when you're working in an office and you kind of half overhear a conversation, you go, oh, actually, and you give somebody a piece of information, or you solve a problem for someone, or you know, that just that cross-pollination. You don't get that if you're kind of sat at a computer on your own. But what is kind of replacing it, and we're using in WhatsApp, is Teams, Microsoft Teams, lots of chat going backwards and forwards, siloed into the individual pieces of work that are going on. And I'm sure Suzanne can talk to people about Teams. And WhatsApp, the WhatsApp group for both the residents and Signal team is quite, you know, go away from your phone, come back, you've got 20 notifications. And it's quite interesting to see the chat backwards and forwards. You think, oh yeah, that reminds me, I've got to tell so and so about such and such. So maybe that's kind of replacing it.
yeah.
Well, thank you for that, Suzanne. An interesting, slow and graceful retirement planned over the next 10 years. Excellent. Sector, Alastair, what are some of your life goals?
What did he say?
I said sector. I don't know why I said sector. I was reading the word sector, and instead of saying Alastair. Monkey see, monkey do. What are some of your life goals, Alastair, and what is your ultimate goal for your business?
So a couple of life goals. I want to sail around the world. So plan is, well, hopefully in about 10 years time, perhaps a little bit longer, to have a boat big enough to sail around the world in for me and my wife, and a few others to join us for bits of it to set off around the world. Are you
a keen sailor at the moment?
Yes, yeah, no, I am a keen sailor. In fact, last year, November, December last year, I sailed across the Atlantic. So that was a goal that I've been aiming to achieve for a while.
Wow. Oh, that's incredible. What size boat was it? The one
I was on, it was a 63-foot boat, so a good size for a sailing boat. Good size, yeah, a nice big yacht. But
yeah, but still, that's
small when you're in the middle of the Atlantic.
I was going to say, yeah, we're right in the middle of the Atlantic. Oh wow. Oh, that's a story for another time. A conversation for another time. But wonderful. And so, what is the ultimate goal for the business?
So for the business, I mean, I've had a target to grow a £5 million business for quite a while. So yeah, working on that and aim to achieve that. I mean, the sort of long-term goal would be to have the business in a stable enough state when I get to that 10-year time to, I guess, either have the option of selling the business or find someone who can run it for me while I'm away. So that's... Wow. Yeah, that's really the goal of the business.
Have you, in that plan, are there many more offices that you're going to open? Because how many offices have you got now? You've got, I know you've got Farnham and the one in Borden. Have you got any more than that?
Yeah, so within my existing territory, franchise territory, we cover Guildford and Godalming and Fleet and Farnborough as well. So I had been thinking to open an office in Guildford, but at the moment with COVID and everything, we've definitely put that on hold, and we can certainly cover the area from where we are. Right. But there's also might be an opportunity to acquire other, trading right at home offices. So that's potentially in the pipeline. Have
you had a conversation with Scott Duffield, Alastair? He's he does sort of home automation and home technology, and he's very much about allowing people to stay in their homes for longer, people of advanced age and with disabilities. He's
No, I haven't. Yeah, it'd be
working with Whitehill and, sorry, it's Borden Regeneration Company now, about putting some of that technology into some of the newer homes that are coming out for some older people. And
yeah.
it's about non-invasive, so it's not all about, you know, surveillance and cameras. He's a very interesting chap to have a conversation with. I would definitely recommend that.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. Yeah, the use of technology in supporting elderly population is yeah, quite interesting, especially at the moment with everyone being more isolated. I managed to get my gran onto Zoom the other day, which was quite a challenge.
Brilliant. I'll send you both an email and just connect both of you. I've made a note to do that. So yeah, you should definitely have a conversation with Scott.
Excellent. All right, thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're closing in on the end of the session now. I just want to ask one quick question, and we'll quickly whip round the room. So we'll start with Micheal. What one piece of advice would you wish someone would know starting out in your industry? What one piece of advice would you give somebody that they should know?
Remember, you've already got the skills. You're managing home budgets, you're managing your pocket money all through your life. So remember, you do have the skills to do bookkeeping. I think that's the main one. So don't just think you're a bookkeeper for a couple of hours or years. You've probably been a bookkeeper since age 16, if not earlier.
Counting your pennies, making it go fast.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Yeah. Fantastic. Suzanne, what about you? What one thing would you give someone starting out in your industry? What piece of advice?
I think it links up with what I said earlier, in that don't try to do it all yourself. I have learned that over the years, and I do get, you know, other people to do various jobs for me. So yeah, and I, although I'm self-employed now, I don't have a company as such. I still work with several self-employed people doing various functions. So that's how you know, don't, when I first started, all I wanted to do was to do everything and learn everything. I used to go, and those days, because it was 25 years ago or something, I used to drive back to the office and sit there. My son was in bed, you know, and do my invoicing, or I sometimes used to do it on a Saturday morning. And, you know, when I did move over and got a bookkeeper in, it just made a difference. And that was my first one, you know, lesson really, was that you just can't do it all, because you just end up going round in circles.
Yeah. Well, we say at Signal, you know, nobody can or should build a business on their own. And that's absolutely the key point. There are some things that just need to get some help in. Otherwise your life becomes one long round of task after task after task, and that comes back to quality of life and what are your life goals. So yeah,
it is quite frightening though at the beginning when you first start your business though, isn't it? You know, thinking, can I afford somebody else? Can I, you know, it's always that you always think it's going to be a lot more expensive than what it actually is. You always think, oh, I could never afford. But if you break tasks down into smaller chunks, it's not always as expensive as you think, which frees you up to do the stuff that you want to be getting on with. So, but it is that, I mean, I was there as well, starting a small business on my own, and I did everything. And again, I agree with you, Suzanne. I just thought I could do everything, and I was dragging children with me to B&I meetings, etc. when they were small. You just think, probably should have paid for a babysitter, but there you go. But you know, you just think you can do it all. So it is quite daunting when you're first starting out.
And finally, Alastair, what one piece of advice would you give someone starting out in your industry?
I think it goes back to what we were talking about values. So my industry is very much a people industry, and to deliver any of the care that we deliver, it's all about the people we have in the business. And I think you know, recruitment's difficult, and I think it's a bit about going with your gut and just trying to assess the people's values and make sure that the values of the people joining your team fit with what you want in the business.
Do you have a specific process to find out? You say going with your gut, but there must be something.
Oh no, there is. Yeah, we do have quite a thorough process of DBS checks and reference checks and all of that. But I guess what I'm saying, we also do a profiling thing, which helps us with assessing people's values. But I think even then, after that, you get a feeling with people, and I think sometimes, you can ignore that, and you live to regret it.
And also, I suppose, right at the beginning, you're grateful as well. You're just starting out and you're grateful for you just take anybody. It's the same with like customers and people that work for you. You're just like, you're desperate and you're just sort of gathering people. But, you know, the longer that you go on in business, you learn that you know, there is a process of elimination and a process to recruit clients as well as a team. So, but at the beginning, you're just very happy that somebody wants to join you. Yes, come along. Yeah. So there is that.
And if anybody in the audience wants to recruit someone, don't forget, we're going to be doing the Kickstart scheme to get the young people on board. And if you feel that you need to have a conversation with someone, I'm sure Sarah Bass would spend a few moments discussing your needs, how to get the right person, the right fit, as Alastair was talking about, for your business. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time today and sharing a little bit about you and your businesses and where you've come from, what you're doing and where you're going. It's always good to be able to chat to our members in a little more depth. Just really fascinating answers and insights.
And thank you for, and thank you for being so honest. I know it's difficult sometimes just to, you know, really share, but it's really appreciated by us and the audience that, you know, it makes us all real people, doesn't it? So this is a great opportunity for this. So thank you for all your time and your honesty.
Fabulous. Okay, so this session is going to end just about now. Don't forget, it's a 15-minute break this week, 15 minutes break. We will be back at 10:45. Hopefully you've got the workbook. Please let me know if you've got the workbook or you don't have the workbook, and we'll get it to you. Gareth will get it to you. And the link for the second session has just been put in the chat. So do get that, because when this session ends, that chat disappears. I will say that again, when this session ends, that chat disappears. So do take advantage of that link. The workbook link, please send me the workbook. Yes, the workbook will be coming out in the break. So, there's a link there as well. There is a link there. If you don't get that, I have it here as well, and can share it in the second session if you need to. We will be looking at what we've been discussing over the past 2 weeks, great habits. We will be going through the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which is a book that I mentioned at both of those sessions, and looking at those 7 particular habits and how to cultivate those in yourself and your business and be more successful. So thank you very much again to our guests. Thank you to my co-host Lou. Thank you for coming. If you're in the audience, please do click that link and join us in the second session. And thank you for coming to this morning session. All the very best and goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
See you later. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Oh, what
did you do?
Oh yeah, she hears. As soon as she hears you do speaking, she's got to join in.
Oh, hello.
What's her name? His name?
Gypsy.
Hello.
Oh, look, Stu, you're like a dog whisperer.
What's he saying? That sounds interesting.
He wants you on his shoulder.
Oh, there's
listening in. There she is on the sofa.
Oh, look.
You'll probably see some legs sticking up later on, because she spends a lot of her time on her back with her legs in the air. So you wonder what that is poking out of my shoulder. It'll be her legs.
You're going to get down, Gypsy. Get down.
Fantastic. Right. I'm going to run through the introduction, and if we have more people joining us, then great. But rather than having breakout rooms, we'll just do it all together.
Yeah. Has everybody got the workbook?
have you,
Yes.
that was
Yeah.
my next question. Have you got the
Sorry,
Yes.
I take that out your mouth, Stu. Sorry.
Yes, I got it.
I-
Got it. Yep.
there it is. I put it in the chat anyway. Oh, Gareth beat me to it.
Gosh, is everybody beating you to things today, Stu? Sorry.
Today I'm just going to wait, because then everybody will do everything for me. Just sit back and just allow things to happen. Good morning, Sarah.
Morning,
Welcome
Sarah.
back.
Hi, Keith.
Hello, Keith.
Oh yeah.
Sarah's there on Martinique, her tropical island.
Very nice. Very nice.
Very nice. Very nice. Oh, well, we now have enough for a couple of breakout rooms, which is cool. Excellent. So I'll run through the intro and we'll get started. If anybody else leaps in the meantime, they can play catch up. But you're here on time, so let's get going. So this month we're focused on productivity, and especially with Lou's talk and Rebecca's talk, we've been looking at habits and how good habits and the right actions can help grow your business. So we know that with recent events, there's a chance of getting blown off course with unproductive distractions. So today I'm hoping to go through a book that's really helped me over the years, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. Can I just get a show of hands? Who's read this book? Okay, I would.
You and me.
Yeah, yeah, it's just being you, Sheila. It's one of those core texts that right up there with how to think and grow rich.
Yeah.
And the E-Myth, and just, it's one of those books that when you read it, you come away with it going, that's so simple, and yet I know I can incorporate some of that into what I'm doing at the moment. So what I just wanted to do was go through the 7 habits. We've got a few little exercises with them, and hopefully we can get through those in this session. So if you've got any questions along the way, please do jump in, raise your hand, stick them in the chat, do whatever you need to do, and we will answer your questions. Are you ready, Lou?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's go. So habit number 1. Habit number 1 is something that I see in quite a lot of business owners, and I'm not going to call it a negative trait. I think sometimes these things come along and they're just the way it is until we challenge ourselves on that behavior. And it's sitting and waiting for a problem to happen before taking action. So it's tempting when currently the situation isn't great, is to sit back and wait for problems to rear their head and then start doing things. And the problem with that is, of course, you're constantly in reactive mode, and that puts you into a high stress situation because your fight or flight kicks in, the adrenaline pumps. What's now in my inbox? Oh my word, what am I going to do about this? What am I going to do about that? Now those things are going to crop up anyway, so why not be a bit more proactive? And you've got your 2 types of business owners, and I see it over and over. There's way too many reactive business owners focusing on the things which are beyond their control, which just swim up into their vision and they go, oh, I must do that now. And then there's the proactive business owners who focus on a plan, put in place some time to action on that plan, and take control over the things they can do and influence. Those things that are going to come into view are always going to be there, out there, lurking, waiting. And some of them maybe you can ignore, or maybe you can pass to other people. And further on in the habits, there are some tools to help you manage your time more effectively so that you can be more proactive rather than reactive. So in this first exercise, what I'd like you to do is we'll put you into 2 breakout rooms. I think 2 breakout rooms is enough. And think about those first questions. What type of business owner are you? What type of person are you? How do you respond to those situations? Can you think of any specific situations that illustrate that? Anything recently, anything in your past? And thinking with regard to an existing issue, could you be more proactive about it? what could you do today? You know, don't think about it. Oh, I've got to call the bank. Oh, that's just painful. I'll put it off. But is there something that you can be more proactive about, even to the point where you don't have a problem? Phone up the HMRC. I'm talking to you about my national insurance. How much contributions have I made? Have I made enough? You know, those are all those horrible things that we just keep putting off and keep putting off. But if you jump on a problem, sometimes being able to be ahead of it allows you to plan a little more effectively. So the big question is, what can you do? What action can you take to be more proactive? So I'd like you to have a think about those questions. We'll just do a quick 5 minutes on that because you will know where you need to focus. But it'd be interesting to have a conversation. So if we just put 5 minutes into 2 breakout rooms, Gareth, and we'll be back here at 2 minutes to 11, and we'll see you then and get some of your answers.
Wow, that was quick.
I know, 5 minutes. How did we do? How did we do? A little bit, we'll go quickly around the room. Sarah, what did you
thanks for that. Just a second, I'm going to have to calendarize that response now. Wait. I'll go through as succinctly as possible, Stu, as it's a quick fire.
Yeah, just a quick one.
What type of business owner are you? Reactive. Brutally honest, between the two. I am proactive in a lot of ways, but I get interrupted.
It's the interruptions that blow you off course from your planning.
Yeah. I'm not disciplined. I'm not strong enough. I don't say no. Don't talk to me now. So can you think of an example that illustrates this? Definitely when people ask for my help, I'll drop everything. Whatever somebody else has got that's urgent or a problem or an issue, I just automatically drop everything because I feel that what they've got is more important than what I've got to do. It's maybe it's my training in terms of I had my desk, but there was reception, the phone. You know, we had 3-ring policy. You hope the receptionist is going to get it. If someone walks into the branch, they have to be met at the door type of thing. You're up.
Yeah.
You know, that could be your next placement. So maybe it's a little bit like that. I do function okay. Is there an existing issue you could be more proactive about? Yes. Having my plan for the day and absolutely sticking with what I need to do until it's completed, no matter if the house is falling down. That
goes hand in hand with your other point, that you're always making other people's priorities your first priority, and therefore you've only got one focus that you can do at anything at any one time, and therefore you're not focused on your own stuff. So what action do you think you're going to take to be more proactive?
Well, I kind of want a loo sitting on my shoulder in the mornings going, I need bad loo. Back to our previous conversation. I need bad loo going, you know, where's your to-do list?
Don't get in your diary.
Get it finished.
Well, you can watch her talk back in the members area. You can always go back and refresh yourself and get her sternly advising you to improve your habits.
Maybe we could have a little morning video that's sent out of just Lou going,
just 5 minutes, just like staring at you.
Your time is up. Get on with it.
Get on with
like it. Mr. Motivator type.
Oh my goodness! I could probably get a lovely outfit and everything. That would be great.
Lou Motivator, get it done.
Get it done.
Yeah, I think I do need. I need a mantra.
I'm glad it's you, Lou. The sort of stew in a leotard, just sort of.
We're talking woof. Oh, orange goddess. I digress. Sorry, I'm being confusing. I think I need to have a very strict, almost conversation with myself in the mornings, a routine.
Yeah.
This is what I do every morning.
Does any of what Sarah has said chime with anybody else?
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. Could maybe Sheila, you could share with us what action you'll take to be more proactive?
Well, reading what it says, I am proactive because I do what I can do and influence, because where you say reactive is focus on things beyond their control. No, I don't focus on things that are beyond my control, but I've become very reactive when I, for example, check, like Sarah was saying, somebody says something and I think, yeah, of course I'll jump in and do that, and it knocks me off course. But where I'm very proactive, I've got a diary where everything that's timed goes in, and then I have to fit the other things in around it.
Perfect.
And so in the diary, they are non-negotiable because they have to be done at that time. But I need to do more of that. I need to do much more of that. And then actually there wouldn't be time, because I always refer to diary, there wouldn't be time for the reactive stuff. But yes, I completely, and interestingly, I had a situation like that this morning, because I was just explaining to the group we were in, Dr. Tom Barrett is a guy I've got massive amount of honour, faith. He's my mentor. I idolise him. Used to do 2-day workshops in the country. I've been to 11 of them, so that's 11 years of them. Couldn't do this year, obviously. And he's going to do a webinar, 1999. I thought, I'm in, quick, let's get on there. But the route to get in was onto a site where I had to log in. Well, I haven't logged in there since for 14 years, so I hadn't got it. And I thought, oh no, I don't want to miss this. I don't want to miss this. So of course, knocked off course completely.
Yeah. It happens. It happens.
But there's a way around it, and I will do that.
Excellent. So hopefully you got a little bit of understanding about yourself and possibly some areas that you could focus more on, and it's also being really honest with yourself and going, yeah, actually I'm like that. So that was the first exercise. Lou?
I just wanted to add on to that. I think everybody resonates with the fact that we get interrupted, we haven't got a set plan. I think my advice would be just try one thing. And even if it's just, I'm going to get up and I'm just going to do the walk, the 15-minute walk before I start my day, and open my front door and I'm starting my day. Try that. That might work for you. Just try something to start establishing your routine, because once you start building a proper routine, it's easier to add things on. So just do one thing. Even, populate your diary with specific times throughout the day. Just do one thing and then build on that. And that will really help. It's, as with everything, break it all down into small chunks. And even, building habits, break those down into small chunks and just do one that you always do. And then you can build on it. It really will help.
Yeah, the interruption thing is a key thing to get under control. And if you tell people specifically, and we have to be respectful of this in the team, because it's also very easy to get caught up in your own priorities. But if you say to somebody, I'm really sorry, I can't help you right this second, but I will come back to you in 45 minutes and then we can have this conversation and you'll get my full focus, they'll feel much more like you are in control, like you will actually do those things afterwards as well. Oh, she said she was going to do such and such, and then there was going to be a chat. So I know that at the end of that chat, when she says she's going to do such and such, I've got a chance of her doing it. So it's just about retaining control. Luke, I'm eager to press on. Habit 2. Why don't you take us through that?
So in habit 2, we want to talk about what you want in the future and how you can plan and work towards it. I think it's really important to have these goals in the future, so everything you do is working towards it. And make a list of outcomes, what you're working towards, and the milestones you need to hit to make sure you reach your goals. And so in exercise 2, we've just got a couple of examples. What's your retirement plan or exit strategy? How long do you have to get there? What's your lifestyle monthly cost? Turnover profit do you need to hit? So just thinking about those kind of goals, set those goals, because then and also it's a lot more gratifying if you actually reach goals and you actually reach milestones, because otherwise you're working aimlessly thinking, what am I doing this for? What do I need? So really be focused on that. So yeah, that's the next subject to discuss. I'm looking at the time. I think maybe another 5 minutes. I know they're short spurts, but just go away and do a quick brainstorm. We'll come back and chat. At this rate, we're probably not going to get through all 7, but let's give it a whirl and see how much we can get through. So yeah, Gareth, if you could put everybody into a breakout room again for another 5 minutes, and we'll see you back here to chat.
Welcome back, everybody. Hello.
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 Hello. I do like Suzanne's background, Suzanne's background. The arch reminds me of Signal in Joanna's room.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Joanna. We can't see you.
There.
Is she there?
I think Joanna's on her phone.
Hi.
Oh, there she is.
My headphones playing up. Not sure. Gareth's in the room.
Hello, Gareth.
Can everybody hear me? Or
Yes.
Yeah.
oh, lovely. I'm gonna. I was listening. Sorry, just to hijack this. I'm listening from my other job, so I think I'm gonna, at this case, because I haven't done this part before. I'm gonna have to duck out. I was okay to listen and work at the same time, but I hadn't realised this is more interactive. So I will do my best to try and join this one another time.
See you soon, Joanna.
Yeah. Apologies, everybody.
Don't worry,
Thank
nice
you.
to see you.
Have a good
Bye,
day.
lovely.
Bye.
Bye.
Good day.
So how did it go, Lou? How do people do with habit 2?
Habit 2, right. So who have we got? Any volunteers to say about your future plans? You obviously don't have to be specific with regard to costs and turnover, etc. But has anybody got specific plans? Sue?
I think John and Fiona think very much along the same lines as me, that, you know, retirement will be a gradual process. It's not going to be, you know, you're working one day, and just planning in and making sure that you plan time to get reduce the amount that you're working as you get towards the retirement age, whatever that may be. Mine's 67. Some people's are late. Well, you're all later because you all look younger than me. So, but we were just saying that we are in a very fortunate position, because if you worked for somebody, you would actually have to set up an agreement with them and maybe say, right, from now I'm going to work 4 days, and then, you know, go back and say I'm going to renegotiate it. Whereas we are in such a great position that we can plan this ourselves. We are in charge of how we retire, you know, how we go through our retirement phase of our life. And I think we're so lucky.
Yeah.
Well said, Suzanne. Well
I
said.
saw Sue with her hand in the air.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I don't actually have a plan, and it's almost like I've done retirement in reverse, because I didn't work for quite some, you know, for a few years, and now I'm coming I'm coming back and I'm working, I'm building up my business, but because of my husband now not working, we are living on our savings. So my business has to pay, otherwise, you know, to keep my business going, we'd have to use my savings, which is not financially viable. So I'm working until, you know, hoping that my business is financially viable, and sort of, you know, so that it also, you know, I've got that life balance where, because, you know, my husband's just gone out on a cycle ride, you know, I'm sort of hoping that I can balance that. We will spend more time together doing things that we want to do. And in some respects, it's sort of, as Suzanne was saying, he's just starting. So he's slowing down and doing what he wants to do, but supporting me in what I'm doing. But yeah, I don't actually have a plan. I will continue this for as long as it's financially viable, and for as long as, you know, our life balance it works for. You know, if I've got clients and, you know, I'm busy for a week, then that's fine. But if I've got a lull and it's quiet, you know, we might want to go away somewhere. You know, we've got a motorhome, we can sort of, you know, pitch up and go. So yeah, for me, you know, I mean, like with everything else going on at the moment in the whole wide world, it's all very fluid. But, you know, for me, that is how my business is running at the moment. You know, I don't have a plan. I'm not going to say I'm still going to be doing this in 5 years, because I really don't, you know, I don't know. No, I mean, nobody knows. But, you know, yeah.
Here's an idea, Sue. Here's an idea. Behind the motorhome, a trailer with a hot tub in it. Mild tea house therapies.
Perfect.
But I think going back to what we say before, smaller chunks, and looking at that as well, because we are in this fortunate position of being business owners, you can pretty much on a day-to-day basis decide how your plan of your day, your week, your month is going to look like. And if you've got something you really want to do on a Thursday afternoon, you don't have to go to somebody and negotiate and say, I'll work all my lunch breaks so I can go to that on a Thursday afternoon. You can just fit that into your life, which is something that we don't often think about as business owners. You know, it's a really, really positive thing to say. You can get on with life as well as running your business. So you might have to work till 7 o'clock in the evening sometimes, but then the counter side of that is that you can go for a lovely walk with your friends at lunchtime. So it's a balance, isn't it? It's all about the planning and the advantage of being a business owner.
Yeah.
So we're going to look at habit 3 now, which is about focus. And we spoke in the first habit about being proactive and reactive. And being reactive, you just cannot focus because you're constantly waiting for something to blow you off course. Even if you've got your goals nailed, if you are constantly putting somebody else's agenda first, you're pushing your goals off further and further. So habit 3 is about focus. And there's a famous saying that Stephen R. Covey introduced, and he was fond of saying, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. And that's all about priorities and prioritization. So you have a finite amount of work time in a week, and it's understanding what the critical tasks are so that you are pushing forward and reaching your goals, and what are mere distractions from focusing on that main thing. So there is a grid that he introduced, and you might have heard of the urgent and not urgent, important and not important, and this is the grid that you can use to work out what's what. So you can simply put your to-do list in this kind of context to prioritize what you do first. And Lou, you spoke about that in your talk when you were saying that in your lists you categorize things 1 to 10, A to C.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I use this a similar system to this, but my to-do list is very much A to C, and then within those it's 1 to whatever it goes up to, and that's how I crack on. So I do, you know, the A1s first and work my way through the list, and that's how I prioritize.
Yeah. So
Eat that frog.
Eat that frog, absolutely. So as you can see from the workbook, the urgent and important stuff, that's the stuff to focus on. You know, those are the deadlines and the emergencies and the things that have to get done, otherwise the business falters. That's finding and keeping customers. It might not be your most favorite activity, but if your goal is to be reached and you need customers to do that, that is one of the urgent, important jobs. Then there's the important but not urgent. That's planning and putting in place risk prevention and things that, like GDPR, you might go and have a talk to Keith, but it might be a longer term thing. There's not just like this finite deadline that it needs to be done, whereas a finite deadline might be a customer job so that you can get your invoice in and get the cash in the bank. Urgent and not important, everything that stops you from doing the first two. So those are the things that other people will phone you with. Those are the things that crop up in your inbox and you get blown off course, and suddenly that 1 hour job that had to be done is now 3 hours late, and you found yourself in a YouTube rabbit hole and you're like, I don't even know how I got on YouTube, let alone where I was going. And then there's the not urgent and not important stuff.
Sorry, before you say that, when you say that, everybody's like nodding and laughing because we can all relate to that, can't we? It's just like, how did I get here? And wow, this is really interesting.
Then it becomes a priority. It's so
exactly. I should be doing this, I know.
So the not urgent and not important stuff is just time wasting. If you're on Facebook and you're not using it for a specific reason to build your business, there's no problem with that. If you've got 10 minutes in your day that you have scheduled to time wasting and idling on Facebook, great, do it. We all need stuff, especially if you're doing that Pomodoro technique where you need to take a short break. But if you're doing it instead of the urgent and important stuff, then it's wasted time and it can be eliminated. And it takes time to build this kind of a habit. And the easiest way to do it is to go through your to-do list and mark things 1 to 4 with complete honesty, and like, do I actually need to do this now, or is this something I can put off? So I'd like a quick 5-minute breakout room where you just discuss some of the tasks that are possibly 3s and 4s that are being prioritized as 1s and 2s and vice versa. It's an ongoing technique, so you can go away and use it as you go forward, but 5 minutes on the clock, little breakout room to discuss those things which aren't necessarily priorities, but for some reason they get prioritized. And we'll see you back here at about past. Thank you very much. See you soon. Welcome back. No, we're not hysterical. We've just had a really good idea.
Brainstorming.
Oh.
Yeah, making the most of the 5 minutes, coming up with ideas. Where is
Sue was telling me, Louise, how she's been using Outlook since your talk. So,
oh really?
Maybe, yeah, maybe you can do some work for me then.
Oh, brilliant. That's really good. I love it when people come back and say they've implemented something that I said. It makes me feel really worthy of these kind of talks that we put out, which is really good. Oh, I'm pleased, Sue. Has it been working for you, Sue?
Yes, it's helping me to stay more focused, and I'm
good.
Keep track on all the different things that I need to see. I need to send out consultation forms. I need to send out pre-COVID questions. And then after I've seen them, I then need to, 7 days later, I need to do follow-up just to check that they're still symptom-free. So, and I'm never going to remember all of that. No. I need to put it down somewhere, you know, and then when I look in the morning, okay, I've got this client that I need to send this to so that they can do their form and get it back to me in good time. So
I think it sounds like you need some automation. I'm serious. If you're sending out stuff at regular intervals and you're diarising yourself to send that stuff out and it's the same stuff to everyone, then you need automation at that point. And it's
small chunks, though, Stu. It's small chunks. So start the process, work with it, see how it works, and then you'll know what you need. But yes, I agree. Automation would eliminate some time.
I'll give you a quick insight into how we did it for Hubbub. So I came on board with Hubbub and we had to polish the process. You know, there was a process, it needed polishing. And we really want to put some automations in place. There's no point putting automations in place unless you've got a really slick process that works and isn't broken. And at the moment, we don't know because we've still got trials going on. So we've got spreadsheets. And while spreadsheets aren't the be all and end all, sorry, Suzanne, but they are good enough to share the information and record the information and record the process until we get to the point where we need some buttons we can just click and it does that, and that, and that. So little insight there. I saw your hand up, Sarah. Is it really quick? Because I'm conscious of time and we've got...
Oh, no, I don't need to say anything. I was just going to say that Sue had to do a really long process for COVID, bless.
Yeah.
And she went through it and she was really thorough and she did exactly what she had to do. But when I said you could email some of that to me and I could do it, I'd be happy with that. She did it like that.
Brilliant.
The next one was emailed. So whatever Sue puts in place, it will be spot on. But I do think that hopefully something like that, just do it and then it works, doesn't it, Sue?
Yeah.
Saves time, doesn't it, lovely?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully the grid for focus is self-explanatory. You've got some ideas of areas you can explore. I'm not going to dig into them. I'm going to move on. We're going to skip through habits 4 and 5 because they kind of go hand in hand. So habit 4 is thinking about win-wins. Not I'm against you, I've got to beat you. It's a win-win situation because if you can create a mutually beneficial solution for all of the parties involved, customers, suppliers, they are much more likely to be on board with your ideas, your goals, and especially if your goals align with those of the people around you, they are going to be much more sympathetic about the stuff that you are trying to achieve. There's some information about that. I'm not going to spoon feed it to you, but it goes hand in hand with habits, habit number 5, where if you want to really understand what somebody's goals are, you've got to use empathetic listening. Okay, and that's about genuinely understanding that person, even if you disagree with them fundamentally. Understanding why their viewpoint is their viewpoint can really help you to get them on board because you've heard them and it compels people to reciprocate. So you've got to keep an open mind yourself so that you can open the mind of the person you're trying to influence and help you and align with your goals. So 4 and 5 go hand in hand because if you want to create a win-win, you've really got to listen to somebody else. And it goes beyond just active listening. It's actually stepping into their shoes and listening to all of what they're saying and how they're saying it, and thinking about their want needs. Okay, if somebody wants to sell something at a specific price, but they need to sell it at that price because their pride, their professionalism is aligned closely with that price point, there may be other things that you can do to help them reduce the price but give them that perceived victory with their peers, if that's how they have to be perceived, you know, by making some considerations and conceding some stuff that matters nothing to you but is really important to them. And that's all gathered through the empathetic listening. Again, notes there, it's all paraphrasing the book. I would urge you to go out and get the book after this.
Brilliant, brilliant
So
book.
we're going to move on to habit 6. Lou.
So habit 6 is combine the strengths of people through positive teamwork. And we believe that no one should and can build a business alone. So you need to ensure that your team is all working towards your ultimate goals and success. And even if you're a one-person business, your network is then effectively your team. So in this exercise, there's a list of questions there just for you to explore. I mean, there's quite a few there. So when you go into the breakout room, have a look through those questions and just explore how you can combine the strengths of the people through positive teamwork. Ask yourself some of those questions. Are you building trust and ensuring wins for your team? Do you celebrate differences and diversity? Do you have feedback to improve teamwork? And all of this is also relating to people that you collaborate with, your customers as well. Anybody that is involved in your business is considered part of your team. So if we go into a breakout room now, I think for another I think we've only got 5 minutes left. So let's do 5 minutes on this. Let's have a bounce around and we'll come back and discuss this one again after the 5 minutes. So Gareth, if you could put everybody into a quick 5 minutes and let's see.
Thank everybody and thank you very much. Hopefully there was some useful interaction there, talking about teamwork and ways of fostering better teamwork. That's it, we're out of time. And you're all sitting there thinking to yourself, but Stu, it's the 7 habits, not the 6 habits and goodbye. It's the 7 habits. Well, where's the 7th habit? The 7th habit.
Keep going.
Habit is about continuing to improve and use your skills. So it's not that you come to these sessions, it's that you continue to come to these sessions. And we really appreciate you and spending time, choosing to spend time to improve your businesses and choosing that time to spend with us. And coming to BizHub really is about spending that time to learn things and to improve your business overall and yourself, improve yourself, because those skills aren't just skills that you can use in business, they're skills that you can use in life, being more organized, more focused, being able to juggle things and win friends and have conversations where you have better outcomes so that people are on your side. So exercise 5 is for you to go away and do in the comfort of your own boudoir. Because it's about writing down your goals. It's about putting it into some form where you can't conveniently think, oh yes, my goals was where I'm at. When you actually got it in black and white and you're a little off course, you need to see that. So go away this weekend or this afternoon or at some point in the next few days before the next hub, make a list of the skills that you'd like to improve in the next 3 to 6 months, 6 to 12 months, and 5 years out, perhaps. You know, a skill that, like Alastair's not joined us in the second session, but if he's going to sail around the world, I'm sure as a sailor, he's a very competent man if he can get from one side of the Atlantic to the other. But going around the world, he might know that he needs to upskill in certain areas. And that's going to be a 5-year plan, 10-year plan. What I would like you to do, and here's where we'd like you to come back to us. I'd like you to write down the skills that you'd like to improve in the next 3 to 6 to 12 months. Where would you like to be this time next year? What would you like to be more competent at? What thing do you feel that you need to know more about? And send those through to Lou and she will forward to me, and we'll have a discussion about them. Lou, what's your email address? louise@signalborden.org. Fabulous. Send through what skills you'd like to improve, because we will have a discussion about that, because we're putting together a plan for the next year. And it's really important that we provide content that you find value. And there's no point us coming up with a great plan if you're not fully on board with the content we create. So please do share that with us. If it's multiple things, or you think, I'd like to know more about this one specific tiny little thing, they can't do a whole 2 hours on that. Test us, try us. And hopefully that now rounds out our final habit to go away, think about, consider what we've spoken about today, and start to implement it. And don't wait. Start to implement it this afternoon. Look at your to-do list, order it out. Go back and look at the videos for the last couple of weeks and see what Lou was talking about, and refresh your memory, just even if you skip through some of the points. And that's it. Thank you very much for coming. Lou, do you have any final comments?
Just a quick, if you haven't booked onto Mastermind, as I said earlier, there are a couple of places. I think it's really important to come along to Mastermind and see what it's about if you haven't been before, or come again if you have. It's a great way of really focusing down on a particular issue that you may have and really bouncing it around the room. It works really well.
There is a guide to how to get the most out of Mastermind. I believe it's in the members area. If you can't find it, or you are scratching your head, send us a message. We'll email it through to you. It's a very short guide, couple of pages, I think, but it just gives you some context into how to use it to your best advantage.
Yeah, and don't forget the coffee morning next Thursday. If you can make that, that would be great as well.